Welcome to Career Bench with your host Bernia Katsime, and we shall be exploring a diverse landscapes of professions. Well, today I'm thrilled to kick off our very first episode with a focus on the fascinating world of doctors. Joining me today is Dr. Balidawa Hannington. Of course, he will help us expound more on the highs and lows and the incredible things that define the journey of the medicine career, right? Those who are wondering, who is Dr. Hannington? I'll give him a chance to introduce himself a little bit. You're welcome, Dr. Hannington.
Thank you. I'm Hannington Balidawa. I'm a dental surgeon. I've been practicing for maybe 10 or 11 or 12 years. I'm not sure. I'm not very good with numbers. I have more of a photographic memory than a calculative memory. I am currently working with Alexandra Medical Center as a dental surgeon. I love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do. I'm married and a father.
Wow.
Of 4.
Wow. Welcome to Career Bench. So, Dr. Hannington, like you mentioned in your introduction about you being passionate about what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
For starters, one would wonder, was this a dream? How did you get inspired to carry on with the medicine career? Yeah.
I love that question because I think I sleep and breathe the answer or response to it.
Wow.
Growing up, I hail from a family of, on my mother's side, we are 9 children, and I'm the last born of the 9.
Okay.
And growing up, I was a very, very, very sick child, very sick. I had asthma, I had spiritual attacks.
Sorry about that.
I was a very sick child, so unlike my other siblings, all of the others went to boarding school, and I was in day school. And I think the one attempt to take me to boarding school, that was Seta boarding, we were the pioneers in the school then.
Okay.
And I used to get so many attacks. So my father had a friend who had a South African physician who had come to visit Uganda.
Okay.
So they took me to see him because I was not getting much help at the time. And on examining me upon many checkups, he tells my father and my mother, I was young, but I remember this as though it was yesterday.
I
said, you know, based on his lungs and whatever, this child will not grow to make 16.
Wow.
So I suggest you take him from boarding, take him to a school nearby home, enjoy his life while he still can. And so I was taken from boarding, and I was
How old were you at that point when they had told you that you were not 16?
I was in P1.
Wow.
P1, P2, if I remember right. Yeah. So fast forward, because of whatever was happening, somehow, I don't know, at home they used to call me doctor. So, hey, doctor, come and do this. So I perceived that possibly this is something I love to do, and I was very inquisitive. So I pursued that. I knew I wanted to be a doctor. Which doctor? I was not certain.
Yeah, I did.
But fast forward, my babysitter was my grandfather. God bless him. He died when I was in my senior 6 vacation. My senior 6. I was S5 going to senior 6. And one time I went with him to a dentist. It was not a dentist because that time they were called community health care
providers. Okay.
Yes. And so the same people who are doing the medicine will do the same thing as dentistry. So he gets on at this health center, and he wanted to extract a tooth. And I remember the gentleman telling him, you hold the chair. I said, yeah. Said, as I'm pulling, you also pull backwards. And he was a very strong man. But when this was happening, I had him yelling, He really yelled so much that tears came from his eyes.
Oh, sorry.
And the tooth came out. And I think that was his last tooth, if I'm not mistaken. But he loved meat. So I always told him, because he was my babysitter, if there's anything I could ever give you back, I want to give you back teeth. I want you to be able to eat meat.
Wow.
I want you to be happy. And so he used to walk me to school, you know. And so that was my passion, really. Wow. So it so happened that we had the firstborn before my other siblings, who my father was paying for.
Okay.
He was one of the first entrants into Bachelor of Dental Surgery in Mulago.
Okay.
And unfortunately, after he had just graduated, he was shot and he died. So I figured my father would be happy for me to be a dentist, and the only time he came to visit me in my senior 6 was when I was filling in my choices. Made sure my first choice was dentistry, my second choice was dentistry, and the others were to me.
Wow, I love the story. It's quite interesting and touching at the same time. So Dr. Hannington, for one that could be watching us right now, one could wonder, yes, Dr. Hannington became a dentist out of passion, right?
Yeah.
Would you say, you talked about family at some point, would you, okay, in your own opinion, what role do you think our families and maybe the society or the communities we live in impact us career-wise? Like, do they inspire us to be specialists in certain professions, or what do you think about that?
In my view, I know, not just believe, I know family would either build you or destroy you.
Yeah.
I was lucky that I think for me, family guided me to do what I think I wanted, I now want to do. If I play time back, I would still be a dentist. How? In terms of encouragement, are you the one going to look at my faults because I've failed sciences? You think I'm a nobody? Are you there to tell me that, you know what, even a scientist needs an IT person, even a scientist needs a teacher? Are you there to tell me that, you know what, I do not want to impose on you what to do, but I want to watch and expose you to as much as possible. If I can identify where your strength is, let me be that guiding hand to hold you to become the best of what you are. So yes, community helps us identify who we are. Community gives us an opportunity to exercise who we are. Community gives us an encouragement that whatever we pursue, they will be there either to support us or to help us, introduce us to better points in life.
Wow.
That's my perspective.
So you had passion at a very young age to become a doctor,
Yes.
even though you had not specialized in whether you want to be a dentist or a surgeon or anything, right?
Yes.
At what stage did you figure out that this is what I want to do? I want to be a dentist. At what stage? Was it after HS or was it after campus? When was, what period, and what triggered that urge to become a dentist?
What triggered the urge? I've made a narration about my grandfather. I feel like he was my best friend.
Wow.
Actually, he was, because my siblings always were jealous that I am the only one who used to eat his money. If I wanted something, he would go out of his way to buy it. So when I pushed him to that place, it was in Ginger, and they were taking out his tooth.
That was still in P1?
No, maybe that time I was like in P4.
Oh, yeah.
P4,
Yeah,
P5 or so.
By that age, you're understanding a little bit.
Yes, I was young amidst very grown people.
Oh.
So I never had that chance to be young.
Oh, yeah.
I was grown up when I was young, somehow. So the pain he had, and having seen the man he was drop a tear from a tooth extraction, I had these questions. I don't know why I had the questions, but I did.
Yeah.
And every other year was just a brick to answer my questions. Why? what are they doing wrong? What could I do different? What could I ever give him to make him happy? And he made it easy. He told me, I like meat. If only I could get teeth.
And that's the thought of, I have to make sure you get teeth to eat meat once again.
So I told him, you know what, I promise you, I'll give you teeth.
Wow, wonderful. Anyways, as we go through school, of course nothing comes so easy. As we go through school, didn't you at some point feel like you should give up? Because sciences, most people love the subjects, but then it is quite complicated for people. Didn't you at some point feel like you should give up? This is to inspire someone that is planning to pursue medicine as a career. So didn't you feel like giving up at some point? And if so, why? And what made you push harder?
So, I am one of those people who went through so many schools, not because I was a bad child.
I was about to ask.
No.
Okay.
Because I always had a hunger for better, for more. Yeah. When I was in my P7, I was in Iganga Boys. So I went to Ginger College, Senior 1, Senior 2. While at Ginger College, my friend who were with in Iganga Boys calls me and says, why aren't you in SMAC? And I said, I didn't know I had been given a place. And said, but I'm seeing your name here. I said, well, I'll talk to my dad. That was in first term, Senior 1. So when I told my dad, I said, I was given a SMAC, so could we go? He said, no, I can't pay school fees twice.
Wow.
So if you're in Ginger College,
keep.
That's what it is. So I was in GCO for Senior 1, Senior 2. Senior 3, second term, I joined Chivuli SS. There's a reason why I'm giving you this narrative.
Yeah, I get your point.
In Chivuli, Senior 3, Senior 4. So all through my time, Senior 1, Senior 2, I had always been the best in my class. So I had this thing of, I need challenge, I need something to challenge me. So they took me to Chivuli in Senior 3, second term. And I think in Chivuli, I was usually among the first 3. And after Chivuli, I said, you know what? I need a better challenge. So I went to Budo. Now this is the part that answers the question. Did you feel like giving up? Remember, from primary, I knew medicine. I want to be a doctor. Fast forward, Chivuli, Budo, I was given PCB math. And we were 12 in a class. And it was my first time to be the second last in class.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So Senior 5, second term. I had these questions. What has become of me?
Yeah.
What has happened? Have I become dense all of a sudden? Is someone bewitching me? I had all these questions. But something surprised me. Even the last person in Budo would be promoted to Senior 6. So I was promoted. But it was second term when I was the second last out of 12. So my brother picks me from school and I was so low. The only thing I wanted to do was change schools. I think it's something to do with school.
Wow, it must have been so disturbing.
I was really disturbed. And I remember him telling me, that is what they call culture shock. And when I went back to school, that was Senior 6, I remember a gentleman called Mr. Komakech. He was teaching us physics and mathematics.
Okay.
He made a joke. He said, you see, you need to understand, we cannot give you exams just like other schools give exams. If we gave you the same exams other schools are sitting, you possibly get 100. And what will that make you? You'll become proud, you'll not work hard, you'll think you got it all.
Oh, so it was the school's setting to make sure everything
so
go through the hardship.
exams
that are so difficult for you?
I got marks less than the fingers on my hand. And I was thinking, what is happening?
I know, yeah.
So, Komakech says, all you need to know that whoever is here, even if you get 0, even if you get 1%, know one thing. When your name comes, you will excel.
Oh.
So that gave me reason to say, I'll push and push and push on.
Oh.
So I think I had good mentorship from the school. The teachers were friends. They were not boss, subordinate. No, they were our friends. And I hope this is a culture that all other schools can emulate. They would talk to us as peers, as friends. They would ask you what your ambitions were. And I think by asking you, because we were few, we were 12. And I think out of 12, 2 dropped off, so we remain 10.
Okay.
They will try to nurture each student personally.
Wow.
And they'll tell you, if you want to be a doctor, make sure biology and chemistry
are your subjects.
Yes.
Well, Doctor, speaking of mentorship, do you think our schools play the right roles when it comes to mentoring us when we are still young? Because some people could be confused at a very young age. What can I do? What can I pursue after my high school? What will I go to study in campus? Of course, the practical bit comes in laterwards, right? Do you think our schools today, okay, let me use an example of our country right here in Uganda. Do you think they play that significant role of helping the young adults to understand what the different professions out there, what they can choose, what they can pick up? Yeah, putting aside your example, since you had mentorship from school.
I don't think the schools are doing that now. But I would say traditional schools. I really hail my HSC school and my other schools. But I speak about Bodo specifically for one reason. There has been that cohesion from old boys. I have been going for career guidance myself. I go and speak to people about what is dentistry, what is it? Is it something you'd want to pursue? If you wanted to do so, what would you do? Yeah. So traditional schools, I think, try to maintain the culture of mentorship because their old boys association or old whatever associations are passionate to see people fall through professional careers. And they come back to give back to their schools. However, the very commercialized educational system, I think, pushes grades beyond what happens after school.
Yeah.
So
Reality.
someone does the excellence academia, but when it comes to doing,
reality
they can't. You may find that currently, you may find that engineers who stopped in senior 6 and senior 4, old men, are better practitioners than people who are masters and PhD holders.
True. Yeah, that's true.
Why? Because it was not the grades, it was the doing. There's no better fuel than the fuel of proper mentorship and love of what we do. Some of the things that you see people do and someone says, no musawo. No yakola what? It's because people are doing things because life has given that to them, as opposed to people doing things because that is their passion. That is the mentorship they have received. Indians do it. Indians, they have their shops, and at the age of 5 or so, you find that they're seated with their children in the shops.
Yeah.
How many of us do that?
Few, very few.
I put a burden upon my heart. Every time my kids are with me and I have some time, there are so many. So I choose today, I will come with so and so. So they come and sit there, much as they are playing, they keep on coming. Papa, what are you doing? I'm seeing a patient. Papa, what are you doing for this one now? I'm doing this. And who knows? Maybe they call it exposure. I give them a chance to see. Do you like where your bread is coming from every day? Or do you want to have other ways of having your bread? So mentorship is a key role that we ought to possibly foster, but possibly we are not, because we have become more of a capitalistic state as opposed to having a socialism aspect to it.
Wow, I agree with you, Doctor. So let's go in for a very short break, and I'll be right back still with Dr. Hannington as we navigate around the medicine career.
Thank you.
Smart 24, driving business.
The United Arab Emirates has indeed been actively championing its efforts towards a clean energy transition with ambitious goals aimed at producing 100% green energy by 2050. Here are some of the key points highlighting the UAE's commitment to clean energy. The UAE has made significant investments in solar energy infrastructure and has emerged as a global leader in this field. It boasts 3 of the world's largest solar installations, including Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Solar Park in Dubai, which is the largest single-site solar project.
CO2 annually.
Luxury redefined at Seasand Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy, exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full-course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at Seasand Hotel, so visit today at plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasand Hotels, luxury redefined.
This is Jordan. When it comes to classwork, Jordan is magic. Jordan shines. Jordan makes his peers better. Jordan is a true leader. White Star Magic family, be a leader, be magic.
Smart 24, driving business.
Well, you're still watching Career Bench, and as we were discussing earlier on, we were talking about how important mentorship is when it comes to career guidance. Well, I would love to ask Dr. Hannington to walk us through a day in his life as a dentist.
My classical day as a dentist.
Yes.
So a classical day, to define a dentist, would be a fairly busy day in which, given a young setup like this one, which is just 3 years old, you would possibly have about 7 to 8 patients a day. So my day usually starts at 7:30. I'm trying to see which piece of my meat I should share about my day. It can be a nice day when everything is fine. Like you're seeing a patient, you're having the right diagnostics, you are having very cooperative patient. Remember, as a dentist, we sell pain.
That's true, yeah.
Mothers are happy to have 10 kids than to sit on a dental chair. So yes, we sell pain. Every other day is a rehearsal of how best to package this pain. And I think the more you do it, the better you become. So yeah, a typical day is a nice day when you're seeing cooperative patients, patients, and you have everything in store for you in terms of cements, material. Your nurses are up there, tell you what, it is not the dentist who makes a good dentist. I have come to realize it is the assistants that make a good dentist. You have the perfect assistant, you have the perfect procedure. So I try to make my team usually happy. I'm not a worrying person. I think I'm a very jovial person. I try to break the ice or crack a few jokes with the nurses, with the patients. It eases up.
Speaking of jokes, you've reminded me about this daily saying they talk about doctors, like an apple a day
keeps the doctor away.
Keeps the doctor away. So what is that saying you could maybe bring up by yourself right here that could help people out there keep their teeth healthy? Like, what could you say? How should I say it? Like, okay, like don't take sweets to keep the dentist away, something like that.
I will say this. Beauty is powerful.
Wow.
And a smile, a good smile, is its sword.
True.
Yeah.
Wow, I agree with you.
So if you can put that in mind, any warrior at any battle, the last thing you'd want to lose is your sword.
True.
I don't think you want to lose your smile.
No, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Anyway. So Dr. Hannington, what are some of the challenges you've encountered throughout your career? Yeah.
I think I am a very doing person. So when I see a problem, I want to fix it. Challenges I've faced in my career, there are two categories of challenges I would possibly look at.
Okay.
First, when I was employed, I think I loved my employment. If anything, I still write to my employer because to me, he's still my professional father. He took me up in my third year. I was in my third year, he took me up at my elective level. He called me about putting in my application and then he employed me. And he mentored me. He took all my mistakes and yet he still kept me. Why would I say the challenge I faced then? Sometimes I think there are things, I would find that when I saw patients and they had so many problems, I was very inclined to work on all their problems. And then I realized, oh, it all translates to their payment. And sometimes it could be a big bill. And then sometimes I would just tell maybe the person at the counter, you know what, let them tell you what they're able to pay, you can cancel the other bits. But that was not fair to the employer. So I always found myself in that mix of you want to do, not because your idea is to get the money, but because you always had this thing of, if I can do as much as I can in the time God has allowed me, I would want to give a pain-free environment, a happy environment, you know, all those things. So I think it is something that always found me stepping on my boss's feet. And I appreciate that even amidst this, I never stopped. And yet, he still put up with me.
Wow.
Second challenge comes into when I got to a bit of self-employment
Okay.
here. I found the challenge of one, unlike my former employee who was able to take on young doctors and possibly mentor us, I struggle to take them on, young doctors, because I always fear that any mistake transcends not to the practice and not to the person. So when they come around and they have clients to see, I would say, you know what? I am happier to see the client and share with you, walk with you through what we need to do, or even call a specialist to come in. The other challenge is, of course, you have non-paying patients. Non-paying patients. And why is that a problem? You see someone out of love, you want them to be fine. Sometimes
With
they
the pain
become...
they're going
yes.
through. Yeah, I understand.
But when you have given them a service and they walk away, you won't come back and say, now give me back my cement. It's not like selling a car that you can come back for it. So you find that you are bruised by people who do not want to honor up their payments.
Absolutely.
And maybe the other challenge I've faced is dentistry is looked at as a cosmetic thing. We have not yet grown to appreciate that actually it is part of holistic health. Does that make
Really?
sense? Yes.
Really?
Yes. This is how you'll understand what I'm telling you. If you went to a health center you'll find that the labor suit is well equipped, you'll find that the whatever is well equipped, the pharmacy may be well equipped, but you may find that the dental chair does not even move. Do you understand?
Yeah, I get
You
it.
find that when NMS orders for things that they are using, you find that if they give you a powder for a certain segment, the liquid is not there. So you can't use it. But they have delivered it to you. You understand?
That's complicated.
So it makes dentistry super specialized. For you to enjoy it, you need to have almost everything at your disposal. You are an artist, so you need your brushes, you need your paint, you need to do everything just the perfect way.
Absolutely.
Which is not easy, and it's very expensive because dentistry is not considered yet as that bit of holistic health. So when I come here, I am passionate. I think maybe, who knows, whether people in policy making or whatever, they may find it and get to realize that, you know what, we have done a lot in all other aspects. What have we done to make dentistry as appreciable as it ought to be? Insurance companies, you find that they'll give you 300 million shillings for outpatient and they'll give you 150,000 for dental. You understand?
Yeah.
Those are challenges. You find that not just the insurance companies, not just the policymakers, even in admission at schools, you find that what they will give you as faculty allowance, you have to buy your own stuff, cements and the likes. It's expensive to train a dentist. It is expensive. And I think WHO and the others have come to categorize oral health now as one of the most common non-communicable diseases. You understand? Things like gum disease, gum disease is looked at as one of the either 2 or 3 non-communicable diseases worldwide. But yet, when you look at how much is given towards it, it's not as much. Why? Because someone may think, if I have 36 teeth, if I lose 5, I still have 21 or whatever. So yeah.
Wow, that's quite absurd. Anyways, doctor, what are some of the skills or qualities would you say are so crucial for success while pursuing the medicine career? Of course, since you're specialized in dentistry.
Yeah, qualities. There are qualities that are inborn. There are qualities that are nurtured. Yeah. I think anyone would make a good doctor.
Oh, anyone?
Anyone would
Even
make a
those who
good
don't
doctor.
love sciences?
Yes.
Wow.
Anyone would make a good doctor. But they need to exercise patience.
Okay.
They need to exercise selflessness. They will need to not exercise but nurture aspects of patience. You may give your best to someone, but they may not treat you as what your best deserves.
Yeah.
How will you live with it? And I think you need God. Above all, I have come to realize you need God. Specifically dentistry, if you look at Europe, in the medical sector, they have the highest number of depressed health workers. Why? If you do very well, your patient is extremely happy and so are you. If you do something and it goes wrong, your patient is bitter and furious. And trust me, it will tip your scale to the other side. So many people get into depression. So that's why I say you need God. You need patience, you need God. And you need the right mentorship. It is so wrong when you are so young and you think, modern medicine is the thing. It's like eating the fruit and forgetting that it had roots. It is always important to understand things from the foundation. You should be that kind of person who wants to understand things from the basic principles. You need to be an artist. You need to know what the principles are, and then you work around the principles to get what works for you.
Yeah.
So Dr. Magara told me that in my third year. He said dentistry is an art. You get the principle, you see how to make the principle work for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, doctor, in this digital era we are in your own experience, how would you say technology has shaped the practice or has simplified practicing medicine?
Better diagnostics. Better diagnostics. More difficult patients. And that's why I said you need patience. By the time you get to meet your client, they have read about their condition, they have read about their options, they just now want you to either verbalize them and tell them why are you doing this instead of this. Yeah, so it has its ups and downs. For the side of the practitioner, it has given you diagnostics. It has also posed that you need to up your game, you need to know your stuff. You are no longer the kind of doctor who just comes and does things and you are a prophet. I am going to take out your tooth and that's what I am going to do. No, the person will say, okay, after that, what are the side effects?
What happens?
What happens?
Increase.
What are my options? Could you just deal with the pain maybe? Do we need to consult? Is there another specialist I could see?
Yeah, most people have made Mr. Google their friend, so
Yes.
it makes sense.
And sometimes, yes, the Mr. Google can give right
Information?
perceptions and send also junk. So
Really?
yes. Yes. Not every blog you read is heavenly fact. Yeah. So it poses that question, and it puts us at a place that you need to know what Google says, so that when you are faced with a question, you need to be able to respond based on principle. What are you going to do? What do others do? What would another person possibly do? And why have you decided to do what you're doing?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, doctor, for someone aspiring to maybe become a dentist someday, or someone who's already pursuing it as their career, how would you say your career has evolved over the years to inspire someone out there?
How has
What are those positive changes you've made throughout your career?
me as a person?
Yes.
positive changes.
Yes.
One, I would say one should never rush into self-employment. Like I said earlier, education is what remains when what you learnt in class has evaporated. Whatever remains, that is the education. Because what you learn and what you practice, they are not always the same. The other one is a foundational principle. The practice brings another meal to the table. So I think irrespective of whether you have the money to set up practice or whatever, you should have it at the back of your mind, the humility to be mentored, and to be mentored at a place of practice. Luckily, you will have a remuneration of a salary. So yes, it is important to, one, consider to be employed. Two, you should listen to your spirit. One time when I made up my mind to leave my former place, it was after my closest friend had left. He's called Dr. Oscar Tavaro. So we were together in med school, then we were working together at GOTV Dental. And then one day Oscar resigned. And it left me a bit of a loner. So whenever I would sit, I would ask him, how did you know it was time for you to leave? What were the signs? And I remember him telling me, Huntington, when the time comes, you will know. When the time comes, you will know. And I am as certain as day is and night is that when the time came, I knew. I knew that my time was done. And I remember walking to my boss and saying, you know what? I intend to stop work, but I needed you to know. And I remember him telling me, I will let you know when you can stop. And I think for about 6 or 7 months, I continued to pay rent here. But I had the humility to say I'll wait until that day when he calls me and says, now it is okay. So it was in January. He had traveled to Australia that time. He came back after a month and he called me and said, you know what? If you still want to pursue personal stuff, consider end of January.
Oh.
I release you. Lastly, you need to honor. This is something people disrespect so much. You need to honor people who have mentored you, your teachers. Honor, honor, honor. Okay, I may speak about it as a Christian because I have understood what it is. Every time you dishonor someone, you dishonor yourself.
True.
That person who has been that instrument to make you what you are. For any young person, I would say, cultivate honor. Not because you are comfortable, but because it's a principle. Principles are not to be followed because they are comfortable, but because they are remunerations for those who respect the principles. For honor.
Well,
I still honor my former boss. Once in a while, I send him a message to re-echo my appreciation because he never ever kept anything far away from me.
That's really so beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyway, as we conclude this interesting conversation, I would love to ask Dr. Huntington, what advice do you think you could give to aspiring medical professionals considering this career path?
I advise one, the fields are vast, where the laborers are few. I urge them to pursue excellence in that whatever you do, have the spirit of excellence. Not the spirit to finish, but to be excellent in whatever you choose to do. Pursue excellence. And all these other things will be added unto you. Yeah.
Well, that was an interesting topic today as we were discussing, trying to navigate the medical profession itself. Thank you, Dr. Hannington.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So allow me wish you a very merry Christmas. I wish you the best, a happy new year ahead. So we shall be planning and talking about more different professionals, of course, in the next episodes to come. Thank you for keeping up with us. I remain Bronya Katsime, your host, Career Bench.